Good night to all. Welcome back to Theodicy Podcast, guys. Welcome back. I am back with the nightly news, nightly Sunday night news, because a lot's been actually going on in my area. I also have a few people that's probably going to come in, but I definitely wanted to share a few things with you guys, just, food for thought, especially if you live in the New York area, the things that have been occurring um, within the boroughs, such as, if you live within Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, these places, when I tell you the heighten of things that's happening as far as like the murders and stuff, it's at a height. It's ridiculous when I say at a very heightened level where people are doing the most gruesome things out here. I live within the Queens area, so it's been a lot going on in my area, especially like close by, not too far away from where I reside. So it's been real crazy on my side, but I hope everybody enjoyed their Easter for those of you who do celebrate Easter. And for those of you who don't, I still hope you guys enjoyed your day on a Sunday. Everybody should be feeling that time of relaxation because you got to prepare for that Monday, which is going to head you into the work week. I would like you guys to take a moment to subscribe, hit the up like button and notification bell. So every time that I go live, you guys will be notified. Um, and for those of you who might come into the building and end up seeing it later on, just keep in mind if you like the content, subscribe, hit the up like button and notification bell so you can also be tuned in. And like I said, I appreciate everybody that's going to come through and pull up on me. And I really enjoyed the conversation that took place last night. I always like my I always like my podcast to give you guys that feeling of just opening up people's ears and minds. So here we go. I wanted to tell you guys something that I came across, which is called the space laser. The space laser is beaming directly at Earth from 5 billion light years away. A powerful space laser emitted from a distant galaxy has been discovered by astronomers. The beam of the radio waves is what scientists call a mega masser, and this is one is the most distant yet emerging 5 billion light years from Earth. It was detected by an international team of the scientists using South Africa's Meerkat, a radio telescope consisting of 64 antennas. All right, if you see the cover page of when you first enter in the live, you see that come up, right? All right, that's the reason why. But I want you guys to listen and I want you guys to also think deeper and do your own research. The megamasses are naturally occurring radio wavelength lasers that can help shed light on galaxy collisions. Megamasses act like bright lights that say, here is a collision of galaxies that is making new stars and feeding massive black holes, said study co-author Jeremy Darling of the University of Colorado. When galaxies merge, the gas they contain become extremely dense, producing a specific radio signal known as a maser. Megamasers are powerful maser produced in huge galaxy collisions like beams from cosmic lighthouses. The unearthing of the most distant megamiser to date was described by Darling and his colleagues in a research paper published last week. To reflect its status as a record breaking, the team named the space laser Zulu, word meaning big boss, in one of the most powerful mega masers known, and it's the most distant mega maser of its kind ever discovered. So it's truly a big boss, said the study's co-author, um, Rutgers University astronomers Professor Andrew Baker. We expect only the first of many mega masers that will be discovered at as the project continues. Rather than emitting visible light as a maser emits microwave and radio wavelengths that are amplified by cosmic force. Once the team established that they had a mega miser on their hands, they began the hunt for the galaxy it came from. So, pretty much, what I'm getting from that and what I want you guys to know, and that's showing you how they are taking their time out to interfere with certain things. And this is simply just my opinion. And anybody that's interested, you guys can go right ahead and hit the link and come right on up and share your opinions if you like. But I feel as though they the is so much things that I feel within the government, in my opinion, that I think that they mess around with that may be hazardous to us in so many different ways. And although they're saying they're searching and they're looking for different galaxies, and this is what their discovery might be, it still gives you a sense of what's happening now and why our frequency of our music is the way that it is. Like certain frequencies of music that come across will have you and your emotions in a certain type of vibe, you know? So frequency holds a big part of it. Hey Puerto Rican, thank you for pulling up, darling. Thank you for pulling up. I'm happy that you did pull up. So yeah, like I'm telling you guys, when I came across this particular article and I was like kind of reading through it, it kind of really amazed me because prior before I understood how the frequency of music controls a lot of things that occur and we don't even realize it. I would like to also go into a few other stories, like I said, within the Queens area. Okay, guys, for those of you who live in the New York or in the tri state area, which is Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island, Harlem, wherever you may be at, I will always be trying to deliver news once I get it. And it's trending. Well, I wouldn't even say trending, but something that's a hot topic. And I think that you guys should be aware of it. I will definitely be putting it out there. Um, it was a killing that went on in Forest Hills earlier today. I'm gonna actually I'm going to actually go a little deep in it and give you guys a little backstory on what took place. Um, and when I tell you, it was like really gruesome how this woman was put into a duffel bag, murdered and put into a duffel bag. And it was really sad. And just to give you guys, a understanding and a backstory, I'm going to give you a little insight of what took place and what details I have as of right now, and I will continue to follow the story as it updates. Queen's mom of two boys found dead in duffel bag a half a mile away from Forest Hill home. A Queens woman was found dead, stuffed in a duffel bag on City Park land, a half a mile from her Forest Hill home, police said Saturday. Orzolia Gali, 51, was found about 8:10 a.m. Saturday by a sidewalk on Metropolitan Avenue near Forest Park Drive. Sorry, guys. The site is within the boundaries of densely wooded Forest Park between Kew Gardens and Forest Hills. Gally had no ID on her and was covered in blood, said police. Police followed a trail of blood to her home a half a mile away on Juno Street in Forest Hills. An officer made an emergency entrance into the house. Police said inside the home, cops found Gally's 13-year-old son alone on the top floor. He told officers his mom lived in the house, but he didn't know where she was. He was questioned in the case and released, police said. Galley's husband, identified by neighbors as Howard Klein, was traveling out of state with the couple's 17-year-old son. Klein's Twitter account indicated police said Klein and his son was on their way back to New York. Galli attended a business school in Budapest, and her Facebook page suggests she had family in Hungary. Many of her pictures show her with her dog and recount travels in Hungary, Guatemala, and Guatemala. In February, she to the contributed to her 13-year-old son's fundraiser for Susan G. Komen, a foundation that raises money for breast cancer research. In a YouTube video posted in March, Gal's 13-year-old son says he started the fundraiser as a bar mitzvah project to honor his paternal grandmother who died in 2010. My grandmother, Deborah Klein, died after 5 years with breast cancer at the age of 76. The teen says I was only 18 months old at the time, so I never really had the chance to know my grandmother Debbie. Her husband, her husband's online footprint suggests he grew up on Long Island and that he is in the business of trading and used to make batteries. He identifies Klein as the founding partner of RK Equity, which is LinkedIn says is a New York-based boutique capital markets firm. Okay, advisor firm. Early on Saturday, Klein tweeted, just landed uh, in Portland or before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. Ann Arbor, Mike, is the home of the University of Michigan, which Klein's LinkedIn page says he attended from 1986 to 1990. Neighbors were stunned by the police presence around the home of the family of four. It's a complete surprise. It's a quiet neighborhood. Were regular they were a regular family, um, regular next door neighbor to the people that, lived on the block around them. They didn't seem like, they caused any real problems. They seemed very friendly. Um, However, from the investigation as they're going on with it, police noticed a faint blood trail that led from Juno Street, from where the home was, to a large blood spot on the sidewalk at the corner of Metropolitan. um the blood trail followed a route, like someone might have someone might have probably like drug her, like she probably was put in a duffel bag at a certain point and then was drugged, and so it was trailing, so from my understanding, it's just so sad how this took place, and they don't have a suspect right now that they can, tie it to. But however, her husband did receive, I believe it was a text message stating basically that the rest of the family will be next. So for me, I'm thinking is some type of involvement with somebody that probably took offense, probably some business deal that went wrong, and now this person had put out a hit on the family. I'm not sure, that's just my opinion, but just how it occurred and how everything happened, it was just horrifying, and how close it is. Like I said, I live within the Queens area, so it's really not that far. Um, but especially the area, because the Kew Gardens, Forest Hills area is a very quiet, calm area. It's a lot of, I would say it's a lot of Jews and Russian people within that area, where she was found. So, I'm sure that it was kind of like an eye opener, but very scary for the people that lived around the area. But the police are still in search for the suspect. But like I said, in my opinion, I definitely do feel like it was a hit that took place with this lady's death. But as the story continues to unfold, I will continue to follow it and definitely keep you guys updated on what's happening with that particular situation. Also, It was a shooting that took place with a 48-year-old guy on Foch Boulevard. It was so sad. I'm gonna go into that. Like I said, these things that I'm addressing right now and speaking about and putting out there is for those people who live in a tri-state area. The main reason is we really have to be more aware of our surroundings, be very mindful to pay close attention to people's behaviors. Strange cars or any type of strange movements happening around you. Yeah, just pretty much just being mindful to what's happening because out here is really getting real deadly. Like every time you hear something, it's always about death. Hey, Puerto Rican 360, I'm happy to see you, girl. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up, boo?
What's
Uh,
happening?
well, I was listening to you talking about that lady in Forest Hills, and it's really sad. It's fucked up. I'm a native resident of Forest Hills. I grew up in Forest Hills. I went to junior high school in Forest Hills, high school. I didn't move out of the neighborhood until I was about 18 years old. So I was there from birth to 18. And now I live close to Forest Hills again, and very close to where they found this woman's body, actually, not far at all. And it's really sad, it's scary, but that sounds like something really personal, with the whole leaving the message for the husband that your family is next, and all them type of things. That's something personal. And then you said the husband was co-founder of some kind of marketing firm. So that sounds
Yeah,
like, sounds like some money, personal shit going on.
it's definitely it has to for me, I feel like ultimately it has to do with some type of money also. Um a lot of times we don't realize that people are scorned by certain things and they don't know how to let go of grudges and they will come back if they have to do what they need to do to finish you off if they feel like it's necessary. And a lot of times money is the main factor to a lot of murders that took place, but it's just so sad that she's leaving two children behind, and then the way it happened, I'm sure she probably it was unexpected. I'm sure she probably was trying to fight for her life, and then on top of it, she still hold on, give me one moment, guys.
Okay. Just give justice a few minutes, guys. You know how it is when you have children. They come first. But New York City uh has become, it's going back to when it was like in the 80s, like when I was growing up. That the train station, the trains was full of graffiti from head to toe, inside and out. The violence was intense. Um, and it's starting to look like that again. I mean, especially with the homelessness and the the incidents happening on the train. You know, it's going back to them times. You know, got to walk around armed. Got to make sure you have a pepper spray or a shank or something because it's critical out in these streets. There's a lot of people over here. The streets are crowded. You can go outside 2 o'clock in the morning. There's somebody outside. There's always somebody outside. If they're not walking, they riding on a bus. They not on the train, they in a car. But there's always somebody out, and there's always somebody watching or somebody lurking. And that's just the bottom line. It's the New York way. But it's really sad, and I hope they come to a conclusion with that case, with that family. It's unfortunate. Someone else.
It definitely is unfortunate. I'm still here. Give me a moment. Thank you, Puerto Rican 360. But I have something else to dive deep into also. But you can continue because, like I said, we need to bring awareness to what's actually happening, and it's close to home. So it's definitely just being aware of your surroundings and where you're at.
There was also a shooting this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, I believe. A gentleman was shot in the head twice, 48 years old, while sitting in his car on Foch Boulevard in Guya Brewer. If you're from New York, from the Jamaica area, you know exactly where this is located. It's not really the best neighborhood right there in them parts. Um, but that's unfortunate as well. I'm pretty sure this man had children or, a wife or whatever. And now he's not here with us anymore. And it's really sad, real sad to hear. I also read something about, just to give you an update on Mr. James, Frank James, the Brooklyn subway shooter. It was an article I came across that said that the gentleman, after he did the shooting, he popped up at a pizzeria called Stromboli's Pizza in Manhattan. And he walked in, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And he walked in, and pizza guy said he was in tears, crying, hysterical, allegedly. And he asked him what was wrong. And the man stated to him, I have nothing, and I have nothing no more. I just lost my family.
That's
And then he
that's so
asked,
sad.
then he asked to use the telephone. Excuse me, y'all. 420 friendly in this panel. Um, and he proceeded to use the telephone and call a Virginia telephone number, but nobody answered him. And then he tried to do a Facebook Messenger call, and that didn't go through either. Um, the man stated that that was his wife. And they also said that he's on suicide watch, allegedly. So I don't know, people. I
I
don't know.
feel
Oh,
like it's a.
and
I
that
feel
he
like
was sorry, Justice. He also was they gave him a psych eval, and he passed the eval. So they
I
say.
feel like it was. I feel like it was a deeper rooted issue to why he's breaking down the way he's breaking down. I still feel to a certain degree is something wrong with that whole picture. Now, like I said, it's just my opinion, and I'm not saying that he's not the person who committed the crime, but we from New York City, as you know, we already know how certain things are given, you know what I'm saying? And how for some reason we always get set up, unfortunately. But that's just my opinion, guys. I'm not trying to say that that's a fact for anybody, but that's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. And I really think it's something that's really deep about this situation, and I do believe that he broke down, and it has to be deep rooted to why he was breaking down and crying like a little baby. um it's something for me that just is something about that whole situation that just doesn't sit well with me. The shooting that took place, that's also something that was also sad. That's something that I'm happy you brought up because I definitely wanted to give a little backstory on what took place. And literally for me, it's really, really close to home because it's like down the block type situation for me, right? When I look at it. Um, But the 48-year-old man who was fatally shot in the head, this took place Saturday. Cops responded to a call of shots being fired on Foch Boulevard and Guayaburo Boulevard in Jamaica just before 10 p.m. They found the man with a gunshot wound to the head. The cops said he was taken by ambulance to Jamaica Hospital, Jamaica Medical Center, later pronounced dead. It for me, when I think about things like that, I always like Puerto Rican was saying, we really have to be aware of when we step out our doors what we are going to encounter. I'm sure he didn't think that that was going to be his last time seeing his family. I'm sure he probably has kids. I don't have much detail because they only have disclosed this much. So I will continue to follow that story and keep you guys posted and updated on it. But for those of you who live in the tri-state area, as you guys know, it has been getting very bloody out here. And, just be mindful, like I said, on decisions that you make, on places that you choose to go. Sometimes you would say the safest place is to be in your home, but not even your home is safe no more because of the heighten of the gun violence that's happening out here is ridiculous. Puerto Rican, with this particular story, how do you feel in regards to what's happening right now in the Queens area and Brooklyn too, because a baby was shot by a stray bullet, and the 12-year-old kid that we did discuss that was sitting in the car of his cousin's car and got shot in the head. I mean, it's ridiculous. You got innocent lives every day being taken by gun violence.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, a young lady, I think it was the day before yesterday in the Bronx. She was sitting in her car and she also got shot in the head. Innocent bystander. See, and unfortunately, that comes from these gangs. You know,
And
gang
yes, as
life.
you mentioned that, it's a lot of gang recruition. It's
Yeah,
like they're
the
recruiting,
gang life
and this
has
is the
gotten
thing.
very thick out here in New York. It's gotten very thick. But guess what? It's all good. It's another form of population. It's all coming to an end for them gangbangers. Well, it is and it isn't. It's coming to an end.
I
It's sad.
mean, I could remember growing up and being young, and I could remember when the Latin Kings and the Bloods and the Crips were at a height, and the Muñetas, and so you had all these gangs that was at a height in the 90s, and it was like really crazy. I think that was the time where they were like going around slashing people's faces and all that stuff like that. Um, and that was like almost a part of their initiation. And it almost feels like it's coming back to that moment that we were in the 90s because the heighten of how the older men in the area that probably came home from jail from doing time that's been in the life for so long are now trying to recruit these young boys and they're recruiting them younger and younger.
Yeah, that's the silly one. But you know what too? And this is just somebody that, from me, that I grew up in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still a young, I'm not an old woman, but I'm an older woman. I'm still young though. And I'm still seeing what's going on, with the young men in my son's age and a little younger. What has changed, with the gangster life, let's call it the gangster life, right? Was that in my time when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, there was a certain moral and a principle that, whether it could have been a gangbanger, it could have been a fucking murderer, it didn't matter. Drug dealer, your best drug dealer, all that. It's certain principles and morals and codes that they used to abide by. Like for instance, children and women were off limits, and old people. You know what I'm saying? They made it their best to try not to do drive-bys where there was children or old folks or women because they wanted to make sure that they got their intended target. Now these young ones, they're just pulling their shit out wherever, whatever time, and just going crazy. And innocent people are dying.
And
And
I
I
think
think
it
that
goes
that's
back
one
to the
part
upbringing.
that's lost, you know.
Yep. And I also think a part of that has to do with just the mere fact that, a lot of these young kids are easily sucked in because it's nowhere, honestly, for them to be able to go to let out that air of frustration through doing something creative. I wish that they would have certain things for these young kids to be able to be involved in at all times, but unfortunately, it's so sad that it is like in our communities, it definitely doesn't have a community center, a boys and girls club for them to attend, to have different things happening so they're not on the streets, you know what I'm saying? And this is why a lot, and then
Yeah,
let's just not to mention,
we definitely gotta get back to grassroots. I mean, I remember when my kids were growing up, and at this time we lived in East New York, Brooklyn, and me and this other, mom from the local area, we decided to start a cheerleading squad. And she was very connected, like with the councilmen in the area and stuff like that. She worked the polls before, so she had little connections here and there. And we did. We went online. We figured out how much the uniforms were. Um, we came up with like a payment plan for the parents. I went and I did research and I learned like about exercises that cheerleaders do and the different names of the poses and the things and the positions. You got the flyer, you got it's different things that you have to know about cheerleading. And I did all of that. And we had our cheerleading squad. We marched in the Puerto Rican Day Parade with Brenda K. Starr, and the councilman bought us trophies and stuff like that. And it was a great thing. It was a great thing for me, experience for me, and the children. And I think that that's what we need to start doing in our communities. We need to start getting together, us parents, and putting things together, whether it be an activity day, 3 days a week, whatever, creative writing, maybe poetry, because a lot of kids like to do rap and stuff like that. So poetry day or something. But we got to start getting back to grassroots and start, you know, going to these politicians, local politicians in our area, and asking them for help, and a collective, and going to our local bodegas that we go to every day, and we buy toilet paper and stuff from 5 times a day. They got to start donating, juices, snacks, things like that.
I
Let's get
mean,
back to our, you
it
know.
needs to be definitely implemented because the height in the crime, and it's just so sad because when you look at it, it's either they're losing their life by the gun or they're losing their life behind bars. But either way, a life is gone. You know what I'm saying? Either which way it comes. And I totally agree. I feel like so much has to be implemented for this generation to stand even a better chance. I mean, this generation is actually very intelligent. They have a different perspective than we had to a certain degree, but it's just that they are so susceptible and they are so easy manipulated into things because of what their eyes are showing them type situation.
But
But
you
like
know
I
what,
said, I
too, Jay?
definitely feel
You know what, too? You made a. I was listening to you talk about, those frequencies that you were talking about,
mhm.
and to me, it goes back to that, right? Because the frequency of music that these young folks listen to, this trap and this drill, it's in a 444 hertz, which is very aggressive to your nervous system.
Mhm.
And so, like when I was growing up, we had conscious rap, okay, and so everything was positive. It was always, put a Jimmy on it, you're gonna have sex. Practice safe sex. Beware of AIDS. Don't smoke crack. You know, um, because you're headed for self-destruction. Let's make peace. Let's come together. Like all this type of things. Very conscious. And
But this is
now,
the thing. They had to take that out. They had to take the conscious rap out, and we
right, so
noticed
what
that
happens
from
when you
way
take the
before.
conscience out? Right, and now you take the conscience out, what happens? You become unconscious. And
Mhm.
that's the way that these young folks are acting. It's no more feeling and no more emotion in the music. Before we used to listen to lyrics because
Mhm. But
that's
guess
what used
what?
to bring us in.
It's all by design because that's as I was speaking earlier when I came across the article, I said, "Wow," I said, "Isn't this some crazy shit?" Because obviously they're letting you know all of this is by design and they're going to control everything that's happening for you guys to continue to mess with things that do not need to be interfered with and allowing the land to be what it's supposed to be. And, unfortunately, like we know, they deal with the weather, they mess with the weather. So we definitely know they're messing with the frequencies of the radio waves because they're doing it through 64 satellites that aim towards the earth. The use it amazes me, but it just sees and shows you the destruction. You know what I'm saying? So the time is close because of so much things that they've been interfering with, playing the role of a higher source that they're not. You know what I'm saying? But yet again, this is just my opinion. It's my perspective. It's not a fact. I'm just putting my feelings out there on how I view certain things when I read and I come across it and it like enters my brain and it makes me really, really think into a deeper um underlining understanding to what I feel may be going on.
Well, I want to introduce the co-host, wants to introduce my co-host. You got
Oh,
Ultimate Cane
definitely.
Man, my husband. He's here in the building with us.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, the Ultimate Cane Man. Good evening. Thank you for pulling up as a co-host of Puerto Rican 360. I appreciate it. How are you doing and how do you feel about the topics we have been discussing so far? Like I said, it's been a bloody beginning of 2022.
Yeah, it has been definitely, most definitely more so than any other year. We just at the beginning. And I just want to add my input, my opinion on things. Listening to the topics y'all were touching base on,
I'm so sorry,
a
Puerto Rican
lot.
360. You went out. I couldn't hear. Ultimate Cane Man. Can you start that back over? You definitely went out. Can you come back in and say it again?
Yeah, what I was saying was, in, in terms of what's going on in the current situation, these current events, I definitely feel that there's more than meets the eye. I mean, they have been preparing us in previous years because it hasn't stopped. This is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's starting to hit home a little bit more because, if you're from the New York City area, a lot of these random acts of chaos that have been going on, it's like, it's really, really getting out of hand. So, in terms of what I say is more that meets the eye, is a stronger, deeper agenda behind these random acts of chaos because they're just too random. And a lot of these guys that are doing these acts are paid actors. Reason why I say what I say is because it's how the news reports are being reported to us. These news reports are used to desensitize the average listener. You understand? In terms where it desensitizes you, whereas it becomes a norm to you, where they constantly promoting it to you. You got Channel 5, 7, 11, 4, and you got four different people saying the same script. It now it starts to become synced in your mind to where it becomes like, damn, this is normal, but it's getting out of hand. It's desensitizing. But at the same time, these certain acts and situations are being set up so that way it can set up a deeper agenda. Because this year is the midterm election for those who are in the political field and know about politics. And according to the political field and the mainstream media, the Democrats are not looking too well. And the Democrats have always been about gun control. You know, we got to stop the violence, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. So why being like this year, and they trying to come with these little gun measures. They got the gun unit back out here in New York now, the Jump Out Boys. They're trying to make a statement so they can look good in the midterm election. That's from a political standpoint. From another standpoint, is a form of population control. So you can kill two birds with one stone. And when it comes to the melanated people, that's their number one agenda, is to eradicate the melanated people out of existence. You understand? They don't want the melanated man on the planet no more. So by putting the gun violence at an all-time high, because maybe 10, 15 years ago, these kids ain't have access to these guns. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, anybody can get a gun. Any little kid can have a
I
gun.
mean,
You
of
get these
course. I
gun
mean,
kits.
it has gotten to the point where they have put the this ghost gun,
Right.
where they call
Every
it a ghost gun because it's untraceable, but so many of those has hit the streets over the past year. It has been absolutely ridiculous. Now,
and
just
guess
wanted to
what?
put a little disclaimer in there. Everything that we are saying, this is strictly our opinion on how we view our society in which we're living in, which we're entitled to. We're not pushing any ideals onto anybody. We believe what we believe, and anybody else who may feel the same way, come on board. But like I said, this is our opinion on how we feel and our perspective on how we look at our society and how we're living as melanated people right now. Go right
You
ahead
know
on.
something? You know something? I think about it, and I honestly think like they have been doing this program with these so-called ghost guns for a long time, and it's been in every major city across the United States. You got to think back as far as say the 60s, 70s with like the gangster disciples in Chicago and the black disciples with Larry Hoover and them when they had guns out in the street like crazy and they was killing each other. Then it went over to LA with the Bloods and the Crips. They had access to all these guns and this and that. And Baltimore and Philadelphia and New York and Atlanta and Houston, Miami, all these different cities where black men can't even fucking get a job. He can't even get a cup of water from his neighbor. Can't even sleep on a motherfucker's couch. But he can get a
But you
gun.
could get a gun. But you could get a damn gun. But
And
you are so right about that. Even and the craziest thing too, as we speaking on it, I feel as though it's sad because even it's like how are guns getting in the hands of 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds,
right,
like you know what I mean? Like really and truly. And like I said, you are right. I do feel like these ghost guns have been out, I think, way before. And I think it's just almost like we're gonna bring it back out so we could, like you said,
listen. And
kill
the
two
ghost
birds
gun,
with one stone.
right. See,
Yeah.
by killing two birds with one stone, we could put the guns in the neighborhood. They kill each other off. One dies, one goes to jail. That's two birds with the one stone. That's what I
And then
meant by that.
plus add on the drugs. Let's put as much drugs that we know, that's the pills, the crack, all of that stuff in these impoverished neighborhoods and let them go crazy. Because that's the
That's a
heighten of the
form.
murders that take place. It has to be
Right.
drug deals gone wrong.
Overdose, overdosing, and you
Overdosing,
get
exactly.
caught
And
selling the drugs. You get robbed, and you might have to
oh,
go get a person for robbing you. You know,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm so tired of them painting a picture from back into like the 70s that, okay, yeah, I know it had a crack pandemic, but I'm sorry. For me personally, I always felt like they embellished our part because I always feel like me as a black woman, like you are not gonna sit there and tell me, oh, pop this pill or shoot this up your arm, take this needle and stick it up your arm so you can get high. Like we don't believe in stuff like that. We always been to the herbs. Like you understand what I'm saying? And that,
that's
no
right.
disrespect, But that has always been a white people drug. And please don't take this as any form of racism. That's just a disclaimer. It's my opinion on how I feel when I make my statements. And I will you just putting it out there for anybody that may feel some type of way. But yeah, I honestly
By
feel like
us,
those are the white people drugs. The pills, the crack, the coke. That was never
well,
our thing.
we've had dope users back in the 50s, with the jazz musicians. We had heroin use. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
going to
it
say
was
that we
introduced.
didn't have a big, but at the same time, a lot of the other drugs that's out here, the Molly and the pills and all this other shit that they're getting high off of, we only started doing that shit because we thought it would give us acceptance, like many other things that we do that's not in our norm, to be accepted by a race of folks or a class or an ethnicity of folks that will never ever accept us.
Right.
You have to understand that we to them are nothing but amusement and entertainment, thus inferior. And if you choose to believe that, then you'll be stuck in that matrix,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I
But
agree. And it's
we're so much more than that. We're so much more than that. But the constant images that they portray because they control all media. You understand what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm.
it's just as much crime that goes on in the European sector as much as it does in the melanated sector, even worse. Okay? But when they control the narrative and they're able to project this narrative to you, it also controls your narrative
Yeah.
in the way
Yep.
one thinks and sees.
But that's honestly not having understanding of self, you know?
But see,
That's how you
understanding of
become
self comes with having knowledge of self.
human. Right.
And you must have the knowledge is the foundation of all things in existence. You know what I'm saying? To know is to have knowledge. You must know, look, listen, and observe. Knowledge and understanding is one and the same. Because once you have a supreme knowledge of something, it will give you a supreme understanding of what you have knowledge of.
Mm-hmm. And I think
So,
that's why we have so much it's so much from the younger to the older people. It's a lot of lost souls out here. A lot
we
of lost
all are
souls.
lost. Unfortunately, we are like
Yeah.
maybe 300 to 400 years behind the 8 ball. You understand what I'm saying, Justice? We as the people, we are 300 to 400 years behind the 8 ball in terms of lost knowledge, lost wisdom, and lost understanding, lost direction and guidance, loss of love and trust and compassion in one another. We are three
Yeah.
to 400 years behind the 8 ball.
And that's something
And
so powerful that you are saying right now, because that's the saddest part. And it's like, it's almost like, how do we get in front of what we're behind? And I don't really see, I just don't see it like for us, because I feel like we keep on going more further and further, hundreds and hundreds of years back again. Like every decision, every choice that's made, you know what I mean? It's it's
yeah,
it's I mean, it's mind-boggling. And then if you have children, you look back and you think about what is there for your children to now come up to expect, what changes are able for you to implement for them to understand how to maneuver through this world that we live in that's hell. Everybody, like I said, I grew up in understanding that, everybody differentiates who God, Jesus, the devil is. And it's like, damn, this person they're three in one. Get what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's like,
but
when you begin to realize that hell is on earth is what you're basically trying to make it to that next dimension. But it's like, almost like, how do you get there when there's so many of us that's so far behind?
yeah. And see, the thing is this. Everybody out here, a lot of people, I can't really speak for everybody. This is just a humble opinion. Just speaking. I'm just talking. I'm just a talking head right now. I'm going to say this. Everybody is affected by the cause, but not trying to know what causes the effect.
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Everybody with the
Mm-hmm.
whyness and the who, what, when, where, too many questions. Instead of questioning what caused all the problems that you're questioning.
Mm-hmm.
We must know and understand that off the bat, that they are our number one enemy. This is not a racial thing. This is not a supremacist thing. This is just what it is based on historical, undisputed, unrefuted facts. Then, now, and it will continue forever if we don't correct the problem. Everywhere they have went at on the planet Earth, they have dismantled, desecrated, and destroyed. The Earth could have been peaceful, but it wasn't designed to be peaceful. And according to
And
their
that's what I
scriptural
come to
book,
understanding. That's the understanding I came to. It wasn't made to be peaceful. Right. I like because obviously it's like, it's no good without bad, it's no bad without good. And so it plays hand in hand with it. It's like it's so how can I say it's so mind-boggling on where we're at as a people and where, like I said, where we need to be and just implementing what our generational ancestors have done for ages. And I think we just
you
lost
know,
a whole lot of like,
but we have, and
yeah,
it's so
of our
much
morality too.
knowledge. It's so much knowledge that we don't even know about that's hidden from us. We're only
Hmm.
dealing with 5% of knowledge. A lot of our history and culture has been destroyed and kept away from us. Because if we ever knew who we truly was, they will never exist. And see, with the little 5% that we do have, we step on that because we still in a position where we don't trust one another. We hold each other back. We're
Right.
so quick. We're so quick to be combative and debating us ourselves.
Hmm.
We don't trust one another. If a person come in with a smile and a bag of money of different sector, we'll accept them quick. Yo, it's my man right here. But nah, man, he gonna get you locked up. But nah, son, you don't get money with him. This, that, and the third. But a person that look like yourself, it's hard to trust them because that's what we was taught. That was the curse that was put on us for the last
Yes.
300 years. And it's a
Yes.
generational curse. Because it's been,
Until where we don't have trust for each other and we damn sure don't know how to take accountability for actions. It's crazy.
we don't know what it is when we never was really taught it.
Right.
See,
Right.
we was beat, stripped, and taught a new way.
And so it's all about having to go back now and unlearn everything that was taught to you to
You
learn
have to
what your
first,
real truth
you have
is.
exactly. You have to first of all give up everything. I mean everything. The help, the this, the that, the fashions, the ideologies. You have to give that up first. Then we must begin to unlearn all the bullshit that has been embedded. But see, we are too busy waiting on one person to get us to the promised land, because that's what we've been taught. Oh, we're going to put it on one great person to come up out of the ranks when there's no such thing. You ever heard of crabs in a bucket?
Yeah, of course. You'll be climbing
Right
on top
there,
of each other all the
there's no
time.
such thing. And they are liking us to crabs. So with that
Mm-hmm.
mentality, we have to shake that mentality off first. We must shake the mentality. We must shake the mentality. And words are
I
curses.
totally agree. I
And
totally agree
words
with
are
that.
curses. And we have to
Mm-hmm.
stop using certain words that curse us and keep us back. Like can't, won't, he'll never. We gotta stop using these words because those words is negative. And that's
It
that's
is.
that's the thing that's keeping us back.
And that's
It's
because
holding us back.
our brain is so powerful and so sensitive that it processes those things as telling your body, all right, well, you ain't gonna do it. You said you can't do it, so you can't do it.
See,
And
they
I
have
don't think
broken
we
us
realize that.
right, and they have broken and splintered our minds so bad, Justice, to whereas they like, all right, you have to wait on this deity or this entity to come. He's gonna come. Don't worry, just wait on it. Where they're having their heaven right here, right now.
Yeah.
Why
I just
everything that we supposed to have and are entitled to? We are the rightful owners, creators, makers of all these things that are out here. Yet they tell us you got to go work, get a job for But on the other hand, they in the back in the offices making backdoor deals, taking, pillaging, being corrupt and dishonest, and having all the fruits to our labors.
And that's so powerful how you said that. This is the ultimate caveman here talking, dropping some jewels on us tonight. Thanks everybody that's coming into the building that's gonna end up seeing this video. Please take the time out to subscribe, hit the up like button and notification bell. So every time that I'm live, you guys will be notified. And yes, again, the ultimate caveman is in the building, dropping some wonderful jewels on the Sunday nightly news with me, Word Justice, on Theodicy Podcast, where we definitely like to put out things that is going to be food for thought. Yes, also make K-Man. For me, I think, we need to stop being selfish also, and not only worry about your own, worry about others. For me, yeah, I have my children, but I also take other people's children that, yeah, I didn't birth them, but I also take them into consideration and wanting my children's children to be able to build that generational wealth and know what it is to live off of their own land and grow their fruits and their vegetables and not have to continue to live in a society in which they don't understand is just killing them. And that's just my opinion. That's how I've always felt, and I'm definitely never trying to push anything on anyone. But yeah, that's just where I'm at with it.
Absolutely. And in order for one to stop being selfish, they must become selfless. You must become selfless if you're gonna intend not to be selfish.
Hmm.
You
And I think,
know,
everybody thinks that, um, everybody in this time that we live in, everything's about monetary value. For me, I don't really, to
uh,
be wealthy is to be able to have the things that are going to allow me to live a fruitful life to be able to pass on to my children and their children's children. And it's not even in the monetary value, but our children and some of the grown people of today are stuck in that mentality. So it's like, I'm gonna get it any which way, I'm gonna get it. So I feel like that's why so much robberies and hate and murder and all kinds of stuff, because money is the root to all evil. And once you allow money to play the major part in your life, like that's the end all be all, then where that how that turns out. And I think that's what's just been happening throughout our community without a lot of us even taking the time to realize it. Because to be honest, who really sits down to even have these conversations or even talk about things that needs to be talked about? Like, we'll hear about a shooting that took place in Jamaica, Queens, like I spoke about tonight. But guess what? You ain't going to hear too much about that no longer. Like, they mentioned it and that'll be that. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah, just
definitely
to get on
always try to
people's skin.
bring light to certain things, because I think it's important that our people, even if one person that's in here right now that came in to listen, we appreciate you, because you're one ear that's listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You know what I mean? The ultimate came in, he said something to me that always stuck with me, which is each one teach one. And I think that is the biggest and the most strongest thing to now create what we could consider, what my mom would say, create Voltron, that's where we have to be at. But I think it's so difficult when it's been so much that's been indoctrinated.
Absolutely. It goes back to the distrust fact and the Willie Lynch syndrome. With the distrust, that's why, because what it is just like what you say about the money and people, everyone, everyone, I guess, they determine their wealth by many different things. Success, people measure success by many different things. People feel like having materialistic things and materialism. is a form of success. People think by having good friends and good health and long life is success. Some people feel like going to jail and being a criminal and the biggest gangsters is success. So success is measured in many different values. Now, in terms of money, you know, we collectively have the most spending power out here, collectively, but individually, we don't own a goddamn thing. And by them controlling the narrative as far as the monetary monopoly that we see out here in the form of fiat script known as money, US dollars, paper, not even gold, it's not backed by shit, it's just paper, it's money. We tend to fell for their concept because once again, we as the people, we have been stripped, beaten, and we lost our way. And now we're trying to accept their way because they have put their way on us. And we let them. And not for nothing, we've always been flashy people ever since the Egyptian times. We always been, jiggy, fly, dripped out, jewelry ass motherfuckers. That's just what it is. And when this new time in the last 400 to 500 years, when they come over here and they ran their system on us, we've forgotten who we were. And it goes back to not knowing who you are. You must have knowledge of self. And by not knowing who we are, it allowed us to accept their way. And their way is the form of materialism and wealth and their way. And that's why nowadays we fall for that system. We fall for that system. And that system is bullshit. It's materialism. Think about it. If you have $1 million, right? You have $1 million, and you go put that $1 million in the bank. And let's just say maybe a week later you want to take out 100 racks. You can't even take out 100 racks of your own money, but you can put all that money in the bank, but can't take it all out. So
Yes.
what's the purpose of having banks?
And that was another way just to control and keep us entrapped, to be honest with you. It's so crazy how
Also,
this world is
also
designed.
for self needs, but also like cars. We like to drive nice cars. People out here, they put all this money in buying these cars and all this shit. If you miss one payment on that car, I don't care if you bought it from someone, if you miss paying your registration, your insurance, they can come snatch that car from you. So
Yeah,
you
they
don't
come
own that.
refill that shit real quick.
Right? You don't own that. So you buy a house. Let's say you buy a house outright. You buy it outright. It's your house. You buy the land. You miss one property tax, few property tax payments, they put you in lien and put a delinquency on your house, they come snatch your house. So it's
Mhm.
nothing here. There's nothing here that they so-called promote and advertise to us as a measure of success and the American dream. You own. So why go hard and shit on the next person and hold the next person back, especially someone that looks like you, for some shit that they not even gonna respect once you get it. They're gonna try their best to take it from you when you got it. For what? Just to say that you live the status of a class of people that don't respect you.
Yeah, for me, I totally
Think
can't
about that.
agree with that, but you see it every single day. That's happening every single day.
You gotta
Um,
think about
I think, like I said, I always like to have these conversations when I do come in. And for those of you who will drop by and end up hitting the video, stick around, listen to the whole video. It has some jewels in here that you may want to take with you. Not everything is needed. Take what you need. You know what I mean? Take whatever your ears would allow you to handle. Please subscribe, hit that up like button and notification bell so every time that I go live, you guys will be notified. I'm here with Puerto Rican 360 and the Ultimate Cane Man on Sunday Nightly News. And we were just giving you a rundown on just things that happen within the tri state area. Also, things that just on a overall that's been going on as far as the heighten of the gun violence and just the poverty stricken situations that's happening in our neighborhoods on a consistent. I think it's very important that we keep on speaking on it and having discussions like this. Like I said, I'll keep coming back to you guys and keep dropping stuff. Anytime I hear anything new, I will definitely keep you guys posted. I'll keep you guys updated on old information or old sorry guys, I'm a little off because I'm a little tired, but old videos referring to other things that we have discussed that you guys probably want to be updated on. I appreciate the Ultimate K-Man and Puerto Rican 360. I want you guys to really um come around, listen. Like I said, Puerto Rican 360 and Ultimate K-Man, they do music. They make all original beats. I'll be playing some. I'm just trying to gather everything together, so you guys bear with me. But I want you guys to check them out every time. If you guys are interested, hit me up in my comments. When you hear the beat, you like a beat, I'll definitely be able to connect and hook you guys up with that. Ultimate K Man, would you like to say something before I'm ending off?
Uh, shit, I lost my train of thought for a second. um, shit, I
I think
mean,
that's
thank
what
you
happens
for
to me
having me.
too.
Yeah, thank you for having me tonight, Justice. Definitely, definitely these topics need to be discussed because we're at a time where it's either now or never. It's either you if you so-called woke or conscious, it's time to show now. Now you up, what do you do now? You just sit there on the side of the bed, okay, I'm awoke, I'm woke. Now it's time to put the call to action. The call to action has been in. It's time to spring the action now. So,
Hmm.
that's what I'm gonna leave it on. This is Ultimate Kane Man, Skull Crusher Productions. Like Word Justice said, we make intros, we make music, we make TV scores, all types of music. We deal in the entertainment field. We also make T-shirts with Usale Designs by my wife Puerto Rican 360. She does the clothing line, and I do the music. And pretty much that's it. And I'm not gonna hold everybody too long. I know it's late. People probably gotta get up tomorrow or whatever. But thank you, niece, for having me on the show. But
It
whatever
was a
we said
pleasure.
tonight, whatever was said tonight is all opinion based. It's just people speaking their mind. It's always good to hear what a person have on their mind. It's how we got to get back to connecting. Each one teach one. Each one reach one.
Well said. Well said. Well, this is the Odyssey podcast with your girl, Word Justice. I thank you all. I hope you guys have a blessed Monday, and we will be back. Yes, I will be back because I got to get y'all into the hot topics with these celebrities, y'all. Mm-mm-mm. Yes. So thank you again. Thank you, Ultimate K Man. Thank you, Puerto Rican 360. And please check me
Yes,
out over
peace,
there on
love, and light.
Millennial. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Puerto Rican 360.
Oh, I said peace, love, and light to everyone.
Yes, definitely. And please, like I said, if you guys are interested in any beats, original beats, music, t-shirts, we have those available. So if you write in my comments, I definitely go check them out and I will definitely be able to connect you. I also want you guys to head over to Millennial Queens. I am over there with your girl Mimi. We'll be doing some stuff over there, but just check us out because we definitely do uploads over there on Millennial Queens. Check out Savage Royalty without the Y. She's also on YouTube and she's also on Bigo. It's spelled the same way. Check out the First Lady Presents Auntie's House. She was on yesterday, along with Puerto Rican 360. So also check her out. And like I said, it's the Odyssey podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. And like I said, when you come through, it's always going to be food for thought. You guys have a blessed night.